welcome to the Explainer. We're always talking about one of the biggest challenges for any organization, finding the right people. But what if I told you that the talent you're desperately searching for isn't out there at all, but is actually already on your team?
All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll talk about that constant nagging problem of the endless hiring cycle. Then, we're going to get into the solution, the blueprint that honestly changes everything. From there, we'll dive into the incredible power of looking at your internal talent first, how you actually develop that talent, and we'll wrap up with why this is such a powerful win-win strategy for everyone. So first up, let's talk about a pain point that I'm sure is super familiar to pretty much every manager or HR pro out there. It's that feeling that you are always hiring. You know the drill, right? It feels like this constant, super costly, and time-consuming battle. You post the job, you get buried in applications, you spend weeks doing interviews, all just to find that one perfect person in a market that is just ridiculously competitive. Honestly, it's exhausting. And look, it's really no surprise that it's this hard. Get this, a staggering 74% of talent leaders say they're facing major skills gaps in the workforce. So there's this huge mismatch between the skills companies desperately need and the skills people actually have. And that brings us to a really crucial point. The real challenge a lot of the time isn't just filling a seat. It's about finding the exact capabilities you need to succeed. So before you can even think about finding the right person, you have to know, really know, what you're looking for. The problem often isn't the talent pool, it's that we go searching without a map. Okay, so this brings us to the most foundational step, and it's one that you'd be surprised so many companies just completely overlook. It's all about creating a detailed blueprint for the role before you even think about posting it. This is where we stop guessing and start knowing. So this whole process of creating a blueprint, it has a name. It's called job analysis. And honestly, this is the bedrock of smart, effective hiring. It's what helps you get away from that vague gut feeling and move toward an approach that's actually driven by data. It makes sure you're looking for the right candidate, not just a good enough one. So how do you build that blueprint? Well, there's a simple but seriously powerful framework for this called the KSAO model. Think of it as a tool that lets you break down any job into its most essential parts. Okay, and this is where it all starts to click. The KSAO model gives you this amazing clarity because it breaks a job down into 4 specific parts. You've got K for knowledge, what someone needs to understand, S for skills, the things they can actually do, A for abilities, their natural capacities, and O for other characteristics, stuff like personality or values. All of a sudden, the job requirements aren't just a fuzzy idea, they're concrete, and you can actually measure them. And here's the magic. Once you have that KSAO blueprint, your entire perspective just shifts. You're not just looking for a marketing manager anymore. Nope. You're looking for a specific combo of knowledge, skills, and abilities. So where do you start looking? Well, maybe the answer isn't out on LinkedIn. Maybe it's just down the hall. Right. This is the big strategic pivot. What if the talent you're searching for isn't out there at all, but right here, inside your company? Instead of immediately jumping into a pricey external search, what happens when you look at the incredible people already working with you? The ones who already get your culture, your products, and your mission. This whole idea is called internal mobility, and it's so much more than just promoting someone. It's a whole strategy for moving your talented people around the company, whether that's through promotions, transfers, or special projects, to fill gaps, help them grow their careers, and ultimately build a much stronger, more resilient team. And if you're wondering why this is such a big deal, just take a look at this. When you put them side by side, the benefits are just obvious. Internal mobility is way less expensive, it's amazing for employee retention, and this is a huge one. It keeps all that valuable company knowledge right where it belongs, instead of letting it walk out the door with someone who leaves. Okay, so if internal mobility is so great, how do you actually make it happen, right? It's not about getting lucky and just hoping the right person is around. It's about being proactive. It's about systematically building up the skills of the team you already have. And you do that through 2 key activities, upskilling and reskilling. Upskilling is all about teaching employees new, advanced skills to make them even better in their current role or prepare them for the next step up. Reskilling is a bit different. That's when you train an employee for a totally different job inside the company. It opens up a whole new world of possibilities for them.
And when you actually invest in this stuff, you create real, visible career paths. An employee can literally see a path from being, say, an entry-level associate to taking a course to becoming a manager. It shows them that there's a future for them right where they are, and you can't overestimate how powerful that is as a motivator. So when you put it all together, you start by clearly defining your roles with that job analysis, right? And then you invest in your people with upskilling and reskilling. Well, what you get is this powerful, self-reinforcing cycle of benefits. It's a win for everybody. So what's the bottom line here? It's pretty amazing, actually. You save a ton of money on hiring, you keep your best people happy and loyal, your teams get more engaged and morale goes up, and the entire organization just becomes stronger and way more adaptable. It is, without a doubt, a total win-win. And all this leaves us with one last really important question to think about. Once you've got that clear blueprint and you've committed to developing your people, who is the hidden talent already on your team just waiting to be unlocked? Seriously, think about it. The answer could completely transform your organization.